Yo, welcome back to Eat, Sleep, Breathe, Hoops, the tale of two destinies. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Western Conference Semifinals. We have a matchup that, on paper, looks like a clash between the NBA's most fascinating experiment and its most battle-hardened underdog. On one side, you have the San Antonio Spurs, the 2 seed, the new blood led by the alien from France, Victor Wembanyama. On the other side, you got the Minnesota Timberwolves, the 6 seed, the wounded Wolves limping into the second round after a brutal war with Denver. But do not let the seeding fool you, and do not let the injury report fool you either. This series is not just about who wins, it's about the legitimacy of San Antonio's immediate return to glory versus the sheer survival instincts of a Minnesota team that refuses to die. I'm going to break this down into 3 distinct phases: the catastrophe injury landscape for Minnesota and how it changes their ceiling, the tactical chess match of the anti-Jokic wall versus the Wemby spacing, and finally, the specific player matchups that will decide this thing. By the end, you'll understand why this is a nightmare scenario for one side and the coronation for the other. Let's dive into it. The 800-pound gorilla, the injury report. We have to start with the elephant, or rather the injured knee in the room, Anthony Edwards. He's likely out for the start of this series, and that changes everything. Here's the reality check. In 3 games against the Spurs this regular season, Anthony Edwards averaged 36.7 points on nearly 52% shooting from 3. The Spurs had no answer for him. He hit a game winner over Wemby. He dropped 55 in a loss. He's the one guy who can break San Antonio's defensive scheme simply by being irrational, taking step-back threes that no coach wants, but that go in anyway. Now, the Timberwolves list him as a week-to-week status with a knee hyperextension and a bone bruise. But let's look at this logically. Game 1 is Monday, and right now, as of this recording, I'm recording this on Friday, May 1st. If he misses Game 1 and Game 2, which both are in San Antonio, the Wolves are looking at a 0-2 hole to climb out of. Even if he comes back for Game 3, will he be the same explosive downhill athlete, or will it just be 65-70% of Anthony Edwards? You know, this and him on the court also makes Gobert's life easy on the pick and roll, which will be nullified if Anthony Edwards can't play or is hobbled out there. Furthermore, Minnesota's backcourt is in a body bag. Dante DiVincenzo, their best floor spacer and secondary ball handler, is gone for the season with an Achilles tear. That's a massive blow to the team. They survived Denver because they went big, but losing Dante kills their spacing. The only silver lining for Minnesota is that Ayo Dosunmu is expected to return from his knee soreness. Let me emphasize this. In the game Edwards missed against Denver, Ayo dropped 42 points. The Wolves are going to need that nuclear version of Ayo just to stay afloat. San Antonio, conversely, is healthy. Wemby had a concussion scare in the Portland series, but he's clear. They're operating at 100% capacity right now, and this is a massive advantage. Strategy, the unstoppable force versus the immovable object, sort of. Now let's talk about the tactical war. Minnesota's defensive strategy, the Jokic blueprint. How did Minnesota beat Denver? They jammed Nikola Jokic. They used Rudy Gobert's drop coverage combined with Jaden McDaniels' length to deny passing lanes. They forced Denver into tough mid-range twos. But the Spurs are not the Nuggets. The Spurs are the inverse of Denver. While Denver had the best offense in the league, built through a slow, methodical center, the Spurs have Victor Wembanyama. Rudy Gobert just dominated Nikola Jokic, but Wemby is a completely different animal. You can't just jam him. You can't body him up like Jokic because he doesn't post up. Well, he does sometimes, but he faces up a lot as well. From the logo, brings the ball up from the three-point line from the wing. Gobert is 7'1", immobile by human standards, but Wemby is 7'4" with guard-like skills. Gobert is going to have to lead the paint to contest Wemby's threes. If Gobert steps out, who protects the rim against De'Aaron Fox and Stephon Castle slashing? If Gobert stays home, Wemby shoots a 3 over him. It's pick-your-poison scenario that did not exist against Denver. Furthermore, Minnesota's perimeter defense is built for physical wings, not lightning-quick guards. Jaden McDaniels is incredible, but Jaden McDaniels hates guarding quick, shifty point guards. De'Aaron Fox is going to eat in the pick and roll. If McDaniels helps on Fox, as great as an on-ball defender he is, he leaves Devin Vassell or Stephon Castle open. The Wolves' defense is elite, but it's a bad matchup for the specific San Antonio backcourt. And San Antonio's defensive strategy, the wall. Here's why this series might be a sweep, potentially. The Timberwolves' offensive identity is to get to the rim. They lead the playoffs in points in the paint. They smash Denver inside. Pause. But San Antonio has the best rim protection in the history of the league. Victor Wembanyama is the Defensive Player of the Year. Opponents shoot 45% at the rim against him. During the regular season, when Wemby was on the floor against Minnesota, the Spurs' defensive rating ballooned to an unsustainable level, allowing massive points, but that was with Anthony Edwards playing. Without Edwards, the Wolves' offense is Julius Randle isos, Mike Conley/Rudy Gobert pick and rolls, and a little bit of this, a little bit of that from McDaniels, who may, bust you on occasion for a 30-pointer, but you can't rely on McDaniels to go give you 30 every night. Julius Randle struggles against length. He's a bully, but you can't bully Wemby. Randle's going to see Wembanyama or Jeremy Sochan blanketing him, and he's going to settle for contested mid-range jumpers or threes. And here's the killer, the Wemby off-court window. Wemby plays under 30 minutes a game. In the 86 minutes this season Wemby sat out against the Wolves, they scored just 102 points per 100 possessions. When Wemby sits, the Wolves have to bludgeon Luke Cornett. They can do that, but they only have about 18 minutes a night to do it before Wemby returns. Let's get into the key matchups. Let's isolate the three battles that decide this series. Rudy Gobert versus Victor Wembanyama, the French Revolution. This is mentor versus protege. Gobert is the old guard of French defense. Wemby is the new. The difference? Offense. Gobert is a liability if you leave him alone. Wemby draws Gobert out to the three-point line, then either shoots over him or drives past him. If Gobert switches on to Fox or Castle, he'll be, in the words of the great Aristotle, a.k.a. the Diesel, a.k.a. Shaquille O'Neal, barbecue chicken. The Spurs will hunt this matchup all day. And Jaden McDaniels versus De'Aaron Fox. I noted earlier that McDaniels struggles with speed. Fox has elite speed and quickness. If McDaniels gets into foul trouble early, which often happens when he gambles on quick guards, the Wolves' defense may collapse. Mike Conley is too old to stay in front of Fox, and Ayo is good, but not Jaden Daniels. Fox doesn't even need to score. He just needs to create chaos and dump it off to Wemby for lobs. Naz Reid versus the San Antonio bench. This is the one area where Minnesota has an edge. Naz Reid is a flamethrower off the bench. San Antonio's bench, featuring rookie Dylan Harper and Keldon Johnson, is good, but Reid is a matchup nightmare for backup bigs like Charles Bassey. If Naz Reid gets going, he can single-handedly win the non-Wemby minutes. That is Minnesota's only path to stealing the game if Reid scores 25+ in game 2 or 3. The prediction? Why the magic ends here. Here's the bottom line. The Minnesota Timberwolves have the heart of a champion. To beat Denver without your best player is incredible. Jaden McDaniels scoring 32 in a closeout game is legendary. Chris Finch is coaching his tail off. We'll keep it PG. But basketball is a matchup game, and this is a mathematical disaster for Minnesota. In the Denver series, Minnesota had the best player on the floor. Even injured, they had Jokic to worry about. Now, without Anthony Edwards, the Timberwolves do not have a single isolation scorer who can break down Wemby. You cannot score on the Spurs in half court without a pull-up gravity threat. Edwards is that threat. Ayo is an attacker, but he's not a consistent shooter. Julius Randle is a black hole on offense who stops ball movement. The Spurs conversely have Wemby, who is unguardable by Gobert and anybody else in the league. They have Fox, who is unguardable by Conley, and they have depth. The only way Minnesota wins this series is if Anthony Edwards returns by game 3 and is 100% healthy, and Naz Reid averages 25, and they hold San Antonio under 100 every night. That's way too many ifs. Final prediction, San Antonio Spurs are going to neutralize the Wolves' size by pulling Gobert out of the paint. They're going to force turnovers from a depleted Minnesota backcourt, and Victor Wembanyama is going to have his coming out party out on the national stage as the guy who dethrones the defending Western Conference champions. The Wolves might still win in Minnesota if the crowd wills them to survive, but this series ends early. Spurs in 5 is my final prediction. That's my breakdown. Get your popcorn ready for this series that's about to start up next week, but don't blink. The Spurs are ready to run the Wolves out the gym. Hop up in that comment section, smash that like button. What y'all think, man? How y'all think this series is going to play out? You think Minnesota has an inkling, has a little sliver of hope to upset the world and shock the world and get this series? You think Anthony Edwards could come back at least 90% strong by game 3? What's y'all thoughts, man? Hop in there. Let's chop it up. Once again, it's your boy, Nikki P. And you're rocking with Eat, Sleep, Breathe, Hoops. And until the next time, peace.